the fourth specific situation as part of the IBBI syllabus is valuation of cyclical firms. And yeah, this is very interesting because cyclical firms cash flow is not steady uh, as in case of a non-cyclical company. So first of all, if we have to understand valuation of a cyclical firm, first thing that we need to understand as to what is cyclical firm. I would love to ask all of you, can somebody tell me as to what do you understand by cyclical firm?
Perpetuity firm.
Say it again, please.
Perpetuity collect continuous firm.
Perpetuity firms, cyclical firms. You are saying
Like
that
steel industry, sir. Like steel industry.
like steel industry. And why do you say steel industry is cyclical in nature?
It follows. There is something called steel cycle.
Okay.
Every 5 years, there is a either there is a boom or a slump.
Right. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good.
Seasonal.
Okay. Very good point. But remember, ma'am, there is a difference between a seasonal company and a cyclical company. And remember, what is the difference? Seasonal company will mean a company whose business varies with the season. So, a fruit processing company will have a higher revenue during the time when the fruits are available, during the season when fruits are available. A textbook company, a publication house, will generate more revenue around the time when the schools and colleges open. So those are seasonal company because seasonal companies are the ones whose revenue changes with the season, and cyclical companies are the ones whose revenue changes with the cycle of the economy. And please understand, there is a small difference between the cycle of the economy and cycle of a season, because cycle of a season will happen, a cycle of a season duration is 1 year, and whereas the cycle, economic cycle, can have a longer duration, it can be 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, depending on different industries and different situations. So first of all, let us understand what is the meaning. I am sure all of you are very clear about as to what is a seasonal firm and what is a cyclical firm. And I'm sure this difference that you have understood will remain with you forever, because seasonal means season, that is limited to 1 year. Cyclical means economic cycle. So economic cycle can be of a longer duration, more than 1 year, and definitely more than 1 year. So what are the cyclical firm? And please pay attention. Firms whose performance is linked with the business or economic cycles are referred as cyclical firm. That means what? That means their cash flow will depend on at what stage, or in which, at what stage the economy is moving. So if the economy of the country is on the decline, then the cash flow of these companies, of these businesses, will also be declining. If the economy is in the boom, then the cash flow of these companies will also be in the boom. If the cash flows of these company, if the economy is at a plateau, a stagnation, then the revenues and the cash flow of these companies, these cyclical firms, will also be plateau or stagnation. I am sure you can understand it very, very clearly. But at the same time, let me also give you some example. But before I give you example, please remember, in case of cyclical firms, care will need to be taken in estimating future cash flows, taking into account the cyclical nature of the firm in cash flow projections. And this is the peculiarity of the cyclical firm. That means what? That means, please remember, that means अगर आपको एक cyclical firm का, cyclical business का, cyclical company का valuation करना है, तो आपको एक ही केयर लेनी है. और क्या केयर लेनी है? केयर ये लेनी है कि उसका जो प्रोजेक्टेड फाइनेंशियल कैश फ्लो आप बनाएंगे, वो प्रोजेक्टेड फाइनेंशियल कैश फ्लो में आपको पक्का करना है कि वो कैश फ्लो इकोनॉमी के साइकिल के हिसाब से होना चाहिए. अगर वो कैश फ्लो इकोनॉमी के साइकिल के हिसाब से है, दैट मीन्स एवरीथिंग इज फाइन. दैट मीन्स you have built a cash flow which is going to be realistic. And please remember, when we are doing the evaluation, we are trying to find a fair value, and we can find a fair value of a business only when the cash flows are fair. If the cash flows are not fair, we cannot find the fair value, and that is what you need to remember. So for the valuation of a cyclical firm, we need to understand what is a cyclical firm. And cyclical firm is a firm whose performance is directly linked with the economic cycle. So as the economic cycle moves, and so will be the performance of that firm. To give you few examples, I can tell you automobile company, white goods company, entertainment companies, heavy equipment manufacturer, airlines, electronics manufacturer, tourism industry, and I'm sure you can very easily understand. Now the revenues and the performance of these companies, and I'm sure you can add many more. It's not that this is an exhaustive list. You can definitely add something much more to this. But for our understanding, these are the examples that I can think of immediately: automobile companies, white goods companies, entertainment companies or theaters, heavy equipment manufacturers, airlines, electronics manufacturer, tourism industry. So when the economy is in boom, people have more cash with them, and when people have more cash with them, they would like to spend that additional cash that they have in these industries and not otherwise. If economy is going through a downturn, when the economy is going downturn, obviously the purchasing power which is available with the people has gone down. So when the purchasing power available with the people have gone down, they will spend least on white goods, least on electronics, least on automobile, least on travel. Why? Because everybody is a wise person, everybody understands the value of money, and everybody understands that they have to spend the money sensibly. तो अगर सरप्लस कैश नहीं है तो आपको उसको बहुत ही प्रूडेंटली खर्च करना पड़ता है. So that is the thing that you need to remember as far as the valuation of cyclical firms is concerned. अब सवाल यह है कि उसका वैल्यूएशन कैसे करेंगे. तो अब देखिए, साइक्लिकल फर्म के वैल्यूएशन के लिए आप इनकम अप्रोच यूज़ कर सकते हैं, आप मार्केट अप्रोच भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं, और आप कॉस्ट अप्रोच भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं. और आई एम श्योर जैसे जैसे मैं आपसे ये डिस्कस कर रहा हूँ, I am sure in your mind you are able to connect and relate as to how, in case of a cyclical firm, it is possible to use the income approach. It is possible to use market approach. It is possible to use the cost approach also. Not only you can use the income approach, but within the income approach, you can use the income capitalization method, and you can also use the discounted cash flow method. And please understand, how will you use the income approach, how will you use the market approach, how will you use the cost approach? In the same way as we have discussed so far. तो खाली आपको एक ही प्रिकॉशन लेना है, और वो प्रिकॉशन ये लेना है कि अगर आप डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड यूज़ कर रहे हैं, तो डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड यूज़ करने के लिए आपको कैश फ्लो, प्रोजेक्टेड कैश फ्लो की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. और जो प्रोजेक्टेड कैश फ्लो आप बनाएंगे या आप क्लाइंट से मांगेंगे, क्लाइंट जो आपको देगा, आपको उसमें ये पक्का करना है कि वो जो प्रोजेक्टेड कैश फ्लो है, इट इज़ इन लाइन with the expected movement in the economic cycle, and that is what you need to ensure. And if you do that, your projections will be fair. If your projected cash flows are fair, by default your valuation will also be fair. So friends, this is all about valuation of cyclical firms. In case if you have any question, please go ahead, else we will move to the fifth topic, fifth specific situations, and that is valuation of investment entities.